It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's Schools. And an important game today, we have two outstanding schools, GlennDale and Phyllis E. Williams, both of which have won twice previously. And today's winner will come back to play Templeton for the chance to become the second of two finalists vying for the championship in this, our 36th year. So a lot at stake and some great kids here today. See if you can keep up with them. You know, but all of our teams start out at 50 points, no penalties for incorrect answers. So we have 6 categories of questions, anywhere from green things and plants and animal. Let's get physical, science potpourri and Dateline science, Bodyy Systems, and 3 questions in each category, a 5, a 15, and a 25. So let's meet that first team. They're from GlennDale Elementary School, and say hello to Gavin. Hey, Gavin, wave to everybody at home if you would. Great player. Good to have you back, Gavin. And he is joined by Ariella. Hey, Ariella, you have a nice wave. Great Science Bowl student, and joined by Barry. Hey, Barry, nice to see you back too. They're wearing their fluorescent green shirts with the atomic model, you know, the GlennDale special out there. Let's get started, GlennDale. Good luck to you. Let's go to the green things category for 5 points. Here we go. A clone of the original one of these trees that taught Sir Isaac Newton about gravity blew down during a recent storm in England.
I think it might be apple tree.
Yeah, it was an apple tree because I'm pretty sure an apple fell on his head.
Yeah.
You got it. It is the apple tree. And as you said, that apple bonked him on the head, and that gave him his first inkling about gravity. Good start, 5 points. Let's go to 15. While fauna, F-A-U-N-A, is the word that describes the animals living in a certain area, this other F-initialed word describes all the plant life in an area. It sounds like a person who does flower arranging for a business.
What do you guys think?
I don't have any idea.
When he said flower arranging for business, I think it might have something to do with gardening.
It could be.
But it starts with an...
It's also
Has to start with an F. You know, someone who arranges flowers, guys, is called a florist. A florist, and the plants in the area is known as flora, F-L-O-R-A, the fauna and the flora. You know, the word Florida, the state, comes from, derived from that as well, all the plant life there. Let's get this next one for 25 points. You'll get it. One of the so-called moon trees, grown from seeds taken to the moon on one of the Apollo missions, is alive and growing at the Goddard Space Flight Center right here in Greenbelt. The purpose of taking the seeds to the moon was to see how weightlessness would affect this process that starts a seed on its growth journey.
what do you guys think?
Starts a seed on its growth spurt. Do you have any ideas?
When you plant a seed, what do you hope happens to it? What has to happen for it to start to grow?
Sprout?
Yeah, it could be sprout.
Give me another word.
What's another word for sprout? Growth?
That's it. It's a tough question there for 25 points. It's called germination. A seed germinates. You know, you have to get it wet, it absorbs water, and then it starts to grow. Germination is what we were looking for there. Let's go to the zoo for 5 points. These bivalves, B-I-V-A-L-V-E-S, that keep river water clear have the same name but are spelled differently as what body parts with names like biceps, pectoral, and gluteus?
What do you guys
What are the names are there?
What do you guys think?
I
What was the question?
would have thought like triceps or something, but I don't think that's it.
Those names I gave you, biceps, pectoral, gluteus, are all names of different kinds of what? Body parts. The same name that these bivalves are called that help to clear out the water in a river.
I think isn't. Wait, where is your biceps?
I think it's on our leg.
Yeah, so it has something to do with that.
Guys, those words I gave you, those are all different kinds of muscles. Muscles. And, you know, Gavin, I heard you say triceps. Yeah, they're in the back of your arm. The biceps are in the front. Pectoral muscles. Gluteus is your bum. So, yeah, those were, so muscles, M-U-S-S-E-L-S. If you go to a restaurant, you can order mussels. They look like clams, bivalves, two sides. So it's a homonym. So it's a different meaning there. All right, let's go to 15 in the zoo, and it's a picture. It's a visual question. Let's have a look. Many U.S. presidents have had animals named after them. Carter and Clinton both have their names included as species names for two different fish. But Teddy Roosevelt, President Teddy Roosevelt, has his name as the species name for one of these pointy-nosed underground mammals that look like a mouse, but they are not rodents. Name that animal.
I think it'd be a mole.
A mole could be. I think moles are a little bigger, and I'm not sure if their noses are that long.
What about underground? What do you guys think?
So it's not a rodent.
Gavin, you're right about that. Moles are bigger, and they do not have those pointy noses. And that animal there, it eats its own weight every day. It's just constantly, it's called a shrew. S-H-R-E-W, a shrew. That's what you saw there. There is one named after President Roosevelt. Let's go to 25 points. When a young animal starts eating solid food, it's no longer drinking milk from its mother. When a young mammal, starts eating solid food, it is said to be weaned, W-E-A-N-E-D. When a young bird finally grows feathers so it can fly, it is said to have accomplished this F-initialed stage of development. The bird has what with an F?
What do you guys think? I'm thinking flight, because once they achieve feathers, they're able to fly. I don't think
It can fly because its feathers have grown. It's called, and the F-initialed word we're looking for is fledged. It has fledged, so it can leave the nest. It can take off. It is a fledgling. All right, let's try these questions here. Let's see if you can get these body questions for 5 points. If you've got courage, and you do have courage, you're on the Science Bowl. If you've got courage, people often say, you've got guts. Or, she has these of steel. What body parts made of steel are typical of people who have courage?
I think it might be abs of steel.
I've heard that, yes indeed. I've heard abs of steel. That's true. Any other ideas? Nerves. She has nerves of steel, meaning, you know, you're tough and nothing's going to throw you off what you need to do. All right, let's try the 10-point question. I'm going to give you a word here, and if you listen carefully to how it's said and how it's spelled, it'll help you get the answer. The word is odontalgia. Algia means pain. O-D-O-N-T that word is a medical term for an ache in one of your what? An ache that really hurts. An ache in one of your whats? What body part? Odontalgia.
Maybe a headache?
A headache.
Headaches do hurt. Maybe
A stomach ache.
We've got headache and stomach ache. You're thinking of all those aches, but O-D-O-N-T, D-O-N-T sounds like D-E-N-T, like dentist. So odontalgia is a toothache. A toothache is what we were looking for there. All right, Bodyy Systems, let's try the last one for 25 points. Let's get this one. You know, when a dilated pupil in your eye gets smaller, you know your pupil gets real big. It opens wide when you need to get a lot of light into your eye. When a dilated pupil in your eye gets smaller, when you leave a dark room, when you come out of a dark room or out of a theater, it gets smaller. It shrinks. The process is called this. The same name as when one of your muscles is activated when you pick something up that's heavy. What is this C initialed word that is the opposite of dilate?
What do you guys think?
I'm not sure.
Dilate is to expand, and when it gets smaller, it's called to contract. Dilation and contraction. And when you pick something up that's heavy, your muscle contracts. It contracts as well. So we were looking for those. All right, a tough first round here, but you'll come back, I know, and you'll get them in the second round with your next 9 questions. We're at 55 points. You have everywhere to go up in the next half here. This is an elimination game, and you guys are your tough players. We'll see you again in a couple moments. It is now time to meet that team from Phyllis E. Williams Elementary School. Would you please say hello to Allison, the captain. Hey, Allison, wave to everybody at home. She's a great player, and she's back with us today. Joined by Legeju. Hey, Legeju, also a wonderful player, and if you're noticing, they are all safety patrols. They're wearing their sashes today. They also have matching shirts with an atomic model on, which is just perfect for the Science Bowl. And Ainsley is here. Hey, Ainsley, welcome back. Good to have you here. Great, great player. So if you're ready, P.E. Williams, let's get started. Let's go to the green things category. Here's your first question for 5 points. When the comedian George Burns was approaching his 100th birthday, he joked that he was so old, he was no longer buying green bananas, worrying about how long it took those fruits to do what?
To like rot?
Maybe ripen?
Yes, ripen. I think it's ripen.
Ripen is correct, absolutely right. So you know your days are limited when you're worried about, the time it takes a banana to ripen, but it was a good joke, and it got you 5 points. That's what was important. 15. It's getting harder and harder to find and more expensive to buy these fruits, sometimes called alligator pears, which are very popular at Super Bowl parties and as a spread for toast.
Avocado.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, avocado toast. At first I thought, what is this? It's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. You're on a roll. Let's get all 3 of these. Here's 25 points in green things. To get grapes to be fatter and sweeter, farmers have learned to girdle the grapevines. They take off the outer layer of the grapevines so that these pipes, the opposite of the xylem pipes that take water up the plant, can't send the sugar from the leaves down to the roots and thus keep the sugar for the fruit. The 2 kinds of vessels in the stem of a plant. The xylem takes the water up, and these other ones take the food down. For 25 points, name those other plant vessels. The opposite of the xylem.
The phloem.
Phloem it is. 25 points. Yes, indeed. Perfect answer. Let's go to the zoo. Keep it up. This is kind of a joke. Hearing what name given to a male pig makes you think, boy, that's not a very interesting animal at all.
So let's be the male pig.
Pig. Like hog? I mean, or a boar?
There you got it. A boar, spelled B-O-A-R, but a B-O-R-E is someone who is just not too exciting. A boring person. All right, you got it. Good. Good answer. Let's go on. This is the 15-point question in Zoo Parade. Get this. It takes 4 days for wombats, an Australian marsupial that looks like a groundhog, to produce its unique square-shaped poop. It takes that long because the wombat's body absorbs as much water from the feces as it can in this part of its digestive system. Name the specific part of the digestive system where the feces is formed as the water is reabsorbed from it.
Okay. Small intestine or the
Large intestine.
I agree.
Okay, I think I heard an answer there. Allison, what were you saying?
Large intestine?
It is indeed the large intestine. It works the same in human beings too. You guys are on a roll. Keep it up. I love how you're playing. Let's show you a picture for 25 points in Zoo Parade. You're looking at a Dimetrodon. One of the reasons a Dimetrodon is not considered a dinosaur is that its legs, unlike those found on all dinosaurs, are not at a 90-degree angle to its body, a position described by this P, as in Paul, P-initialed mathematical term. If something is at 90-degree angle to something else, it is described by this P-initialed mathematical term.
Perimeter?
Oh no.
Yeah, I think it's perimeter.
Not perimeter, that's a good guess. Perpendicular. Perpendicular is 90 degrees. So all dinosaurs have their legs right underneath them. They're perpendicular to their body. Forms a 90-degree angle. That was a good try. Let's go to the body. 5 points. Despite what people have heard, and you've probably heard this too, maybe your mom says, now stop doing that. It's not possible to get arthritis if you keep cracking these joints.
Knuckles?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, you just want to do it. They make noise, you think, oh, you're going to get arthritis. No, it doesn't happen. Not that you should do it, but it doesn't give you arthritis. Good answer. For 15 points in Bodyy Systems, the substance heparin, H-E-P-A-R-I-N, H-E-P-A-R-I-N, that prevents the blood from clotting and is often given to patients after surgery, is made, as its first 3 letters tell you, in what body organ? Heparin is made in what body organ? A substance that prevents blood from clotting.
The heart?
No. Can you please repeat the question?
I certainly can. The substance heparin, spelled H-E-P-A-R-I-N, that prevents blood from clotting and is often given to patients after surgery, is made, as the first 3 letters in its name tell you, in what body organ?
Hep. I'm thinking like
Your pelvis?
Good try. Have you heard of hepatitis? Hepatitis is something you have to worry because it affects your liver. HEP always refers to something in the liver, like the hepatic organ, the hepatic artery. Remember that for the future. Liver was the right answer there. Let's do a multiple choice for 25 points and finish out your first round. You've had a good round. When our eyes get older, vision often gets blurry and close-up objects are hard to see because the eye's lens can't properly reflect, refract, or reconcile the incoming light waves. As the light waves enter your lens, oftentimes the eye's lens can no longer reflect, refract, or reconcile the incoming light waves.
Refract.
It is refract, absolutely, for 25 points. Good teamwork there. 145, good work. We'll see you again in a couple minutes. We'll talk to you, and then we'll ask you your last 9 questions. Good work there, P.E. Williams. It's now time to bring back that team from GlennDale and find out a little bit about our players. As we said at the top of the show, they've won this game twice already. They're here today vying for the chance to move on to the last semifinal game and maybe, just maybe, a county championship for GlennDale Elementary School. 3 great players here. Let's talk to each of them. Hey, Gavin. Gavin, tell us why you like this show and why you keep coming back.
Well, I was selected. Well, actually, I don't really know. It's fun, I guess. And
Yeah,
I get to learn so much.
absolutely. You've been learning things, and we're learning things about you too, about how much you know at such a young age. How did you guys practice to get ready for today?
We usually watch videos, or our coach asks us to look stuff up.
Absolutely. Those are good ways to prepare, and obviously you did that well. Let's talk to your teammates. Let's go to Ariella. Ariella, nice to have you back on the show here today, and tell us why you like the show. Why did you decide to do this?
I like this show because it was fun to me.
Yeah, it is fun, and you know it's competitive, and you know you're playing against a different school, and it's not a sport, it's not a contact sport, but you've got to strategize, and you've got to work together as a team, and you've been doing that here, and you're doing that real well. Good luck in the second half. All right. Let's go to Barry. Barry, nice to have you with us today. Barry, tell us your story. Why do you want to do this? Why did you do this?
Well, I think it was really fun to do, and I really like to do science.
What is it about science that you like most? Is it the experiments, or is it the animals? Is it the rocks? Or what part of science really intrigues you?
I really like to do some experiments at home.
Yeah, that's a great thing to do. And you know, you always have to be careful with the things you use at home. And I can tell, you know, you're masked up. You're a very careful student. And yeah, that's oftentimes that's how careers start. You know, you do things at home, and you see what happens, and you're successful, and you get an idea, maybe this is what I want to do when I get older. You're doing a nice job here today. Let's get some more points in the second half, all right? All right. GlennDale, let's add to those 55 points. Let's go to the Let's Get Physical category. We have 9 more questions for you in this category. 3 there, 3 in potpourri, and 3 in DATELINE. Here we go. Let's get physical for 5 points. How many of you have a dog at home? Any of you have a dog? All right, a couple dogs. You know, when you walk your dogs in the woods, it's good for the dog, and it's good for you. Not so great for the woodland plants, since dog urine and dog feces contains too much of the chemical elements N and P, which can stunt growth and encourage weeds. For 5 points, I know you've studied the periodic table. What 2 chemical elements have the symbols? One of them is capital N, the other one is capital P.
So one of them is nitrogen. You guys know the other one?
K is potassium.
But what's P?
O, P. Oh, platinum?
It's not platinum.
What do you think?
I know. I remember this one. I just forgot the name.
Yeah, and I like platinum because P certainly platinum is PT. Nitrogen you got right away, and P by itself is phosphorus. Phosphorus. And you know, if you help wash the dishes at home, if you look on the substance, it usually says on there, no phosphorus, because phosphorus is something that contributes to pollution in waters, and it has mostly been removed from dishwashing liquids. Let's get the 15-pointer. All right, it's a 3-part answer, but I know you're going to get it. The unusually high water levels associated with what are called king tides. You've heard of high tides and low tides. Well, king tides are really, really high. They're caused by just the right alignments of these 3 heavenly bodies, the same ones involved in eclipses. If you're looking at eclipses, what 3 bodies right close to us in the heavens up here line up in different ways?
So the moon and the sun are perfectly aligned together, which blocks
What's the third
sun's
one?
rays.
What's the third one? Where are we?
Wait, Earth.
Earth, that's right. Earth, moon, and sun. The way they're lined up in terms of if it's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, partial, complete. Good, 15 points. For 25 points, in 1845, this man, you talk about doing experiments at home. In 1845, Barry, this man, he arranged for trumpets to be played from a passing train. Train went by, trumpets were playing, and he noticed that the sound increased in pitch the closer the train was, and then the farther the train got away, it got less and less and less. You've heard that too. So that effect was named for him. What D, like in David, what D initial effect did I just describe? It's also the name of the radar that a lot of weathermen on TV talk about when they show that rain is coming.
What do you think? I think I know about this.
Say it again.
I was thinking something about data.
That man's name was Doppler. Doppler, D-O-P-P-L-E-R, the Doppler effect, and there is Doppler radar as well. Let's try the potpourri for 5 points. Although a female polar bear will stay in a den for up to 5 months to give birth to and care for her cubs, she is alert the whole time. She doesn't sleep, and thus does not do this that most other bears do in the winter.
Hibernate.
Yeah, she doesn't hibernate. She's awake the whole time. Good answer. Let's show you a picture for potpourri for 15. It's a creepy looking thing. Newly discovered alien flatworm that looks a bit like a cobra. Has been named for the COVID pandemic. Its species name is Covidium. And it reproduces very quickly because it is asexual. A-S-E-X-U-A-L. Meaning what? If it reproduces and it is asexual, it means what?
Do you think it would mate with any gender?
Well, I'm thinking that. Asexual A means. I'm pretty sure in scientific terms, I'm pretty sure A means like opposite or something. So I'm guessing it can reproduce on its own.
You got it. Perfect. I love what you just did there. What you just did there, Gavin. You took it apart. A something means without sexual partners. So yeah, it reproduces on its own. Excellent work. Got yourself 15 points. Let's do the 25-pointer. It's a multiple choice. Elephants, goats, cats, even snakes have a sixth sense when it comes to detecting earthquakes and tsunamis and storms. The low rumbling sounds that they can hear that we cannot are known as ultrasonic, supersonic, or infrasonic sounds. Ultrasonic, supersonic, or infrasonic sounds. Sounds that are so low, we cannot hear them.
So I know about ultrasound pictures, like when you want to see like a baby inside of like a mother's stomach. That's ultrasound picture. I know about that. So I guess it might be that.
Yeah, the key, and I like how you think, Gavin, I really do, and you do, they have sonograms that they take. Ultra and super mean above. Infra means below. So infrasonic is what we were looking for there. Those are the kinds of sounds that are below the level. The decibels are so low that we cannot detect them. Let's go to DATELINE for 5 points. Back in 1665, a man by the name of Robert Hooke improved the new instrument back then known as the microscope. Yeah, it was brand new back in 1665. Then Hooke looked through the microscope at a slice of cork, and he saw that it was divided up into little rooms. They looked like little rooms through the microscope, and he came up with this term for what all plants and animals, ourselves, are made of, the individual units that make us up.
Atoms. That was atoms.
A little larger than that. I know you're wearing an atomic model, but remember, you can't see atoms through a microscope. What would you see in a microscope that looked like little rooms? The little rooms that make up our bodies, plant bodies.
I would have said molecules, but now I'm rethinking it. Because he said it looks like little rooms.
Like if someone is put in jail, they're put into a little room called a what?
A cell. A cell.
Oh.
Say it again?
Jail cell.
A cell. A cell. We're made of cells. So those little boxes that Robert Hooke saw in the cork were cells. He was the first one who came up with the word cells. So that will give you the 5 points. For 15 points in 1945, when a man by the name of Percy Spencer stood too close to a magnetron and noticed the candy bar in his pocket melted. Whoa, what just happened there? Because of the device's high-frequency radio waves, a light bulb went off. He revolutionized cooking. Now every kitchen seems to have one of these devices that runs on radio waves.
I'm guessing.
Microwave, yeah. He invented the microwave. And last question for you. Good answer. 25 points, multiple choice. In 1981, an African-American scientist by the name of Patricia Bath came up with the idea of using lasers to treat this condition of the eye in which the lens gets clouded over. Cataracts, glaucoma, or macular degeneration.
I actually think it's the last one. Because it's sort of like it clouds up in your eye. It kind of like degrades your vision. It's like harder to see because of all the clouding. It kind of like degrades your sight. You can't really see that well.
And you see, you're a good wordsmith there, Gavin, because you're taking words apart. And to degrade means to take down, to lessen. But there's a part of the eye called the macula that is not the lens that degrades. So in this case, the correct answer, a clouded over lens is called a cataract. And you might have heard your relatives talking about that. Now, doctors can go in, you can get cataract surgery. They take the lens out, they put an artificial lens back in, and a lot of times if you're wearing glasses, you don't have to wear glasses anymore. But it happens to all lenses. As the older you get, the cloudier they get. There's a 110 points is what you end up with here. You gave it your best shot here today, guys, and we appreciate you playing the Science Bowl, and we'll bring you all back in just a couple moments. Thanks for your good teamwork here. All right, it's now time to bring back that team from Phyllis C. Williams. They're sitting on 145 points. Before we ask any questions, more of them, let's find out about our players that have been here before, and they're all just terrific. Let's go and start with Allison. Allison, what do you like about the Science Bowl? Why did you decide to do this?
The reason I decided to do this was because it's an opportunity to learn more, and that because I look up to my older brother because he was in it once.
Wow, and I remember you telling me that once before, so it's a family tradition. And I have to ask you, when he was on the show, did he win as many times as you did?
He got to this round.
He got to this round. All right, so you're neck and neck. That's really great. Little sibling rivalry there. You're a wonderful young lady and a great player. Good luck in the second half here. Let's also talk to your teammates here. Let's go to Legeju. Legeju, nice to have you here. And tell us also why you did not have to do this. You know, you could have said, no, I don't want to do that, but you stood up, you had the courage to do it, and you said, hey, I'm smart enough to do this. Tell us why you did it.
So I can learn more and get a better understanding of science.
Absolutely right. We're hoping that's happening. We're hoping as I read these questions and you hear the answers, most of which you're getting right, you're learning something along the way, and it inspires you to continue to stick with science. You're doing a great job here today. Keep it up in the second half. And let's talk to your teammate, Ainsley. Hey, Ainsley. Ainsley, you know an awful lot about science, so this seems like a good fit for you. Do you feel like you belong here?
Yes.
Yeah, you certainly do. And tell us what your motivation was. Why'd you want to do it?
I wanted to do the science bowl because I like the idea of testing my knowledge of science and learning more of it.
Absolutely right. We have to test ourselves throughout life. You know, we want to see, challenge yourself. Can I do this? Can I do that? You're not going to succeed every time, but you're going to learn more about yourself, and you're going to find that that kind of curiosity is going to serve you really well in life. Good luck in the second half. All right, Phyllis C. Williams, let's get back into the game. We have 9 more questions for you. Let's give you their first 3 in the Let's Get Physical category. Here we go for 5 points. This unit for measuring vast distances in space is often mistaken for a unit to measure time.
It could be a clock.
The
Or,
the unit, though, like, what decibels is for sound, like the unit.
Okay. I'm gonna pass it to Lagetru.
Guess you what you got? A unit for measuring vast distances in space, but a lot of people mistake it for a unit that measures time.
The clock.
Not the clock. How many of you saw Toy Story? Who was the guy? Buzz what?
Light years.
A light year. A light year is a unit for measuring distance, not time, even though it sounds like it's for measuring time. Light year was the answer there. Let's go to 15 points, multiple choice. A cave explorer has discovered an entire ecosystem that is anaerobic, meaning there's no oxygen there. The creatures there die in the presence of oxygen and survive instead in the presence of H2S, a poisonous gas that smells like rotten eggs. Is that H2S gas sulfuric acid, sulfur dioxide, or hydrogen sulfide?
Hydrogen sulfide?
It is hydrogen sulfide. That is that stinky rotten egg smell. Sometimes they call it sewer gas or swamp gas. It is, pretty disgusting. You got yourself 15 points. Let's go to the 25-point question. Magma moving up from the center of the earth toward the crust does so by what same process that causes warm air or water to rise up? What C initial term describes that movement of magma moving up, hot air moving up, hot water moving up, and then cools and it comes back down again?
It could be evaporation or condensation.
Remember, it has to begin with a C.
The condensation.
So condensation?
Condensation is a good guess. It's called convection. Convection currents. A lot of times, they show on animal programs these vultures just flying around. They catch the updraft, the warm air, the thermals that are produced when that warm air rises. Let's go to potpourri for 5 points and show you a picture. This is interesting. This bird, called a cockatoo, has figured out a way to play golf with a stick in order to get a cashew treat as a reward. This is an example of an intelligent animal learning to use a what? That stick is a kind of what? That hits that
Tool.
tool. That's right. It is using a tool. Perfect. Absolutely. Let's go to the 15-point question in potpourri. Scientists think that about 10,000 years ago, one of these kinds of genetic changes occurred that caused brown eyes to become blue, a trait that is neither positive nor negative in terms of survival. A kind of genetic change that caused brown eyes to become blue. What do we call it when genes change?
Change.
Metamorphosis.
Sometimes they're not for the better. Sometimes the change leads to something that is worse.
I feel like it's just a
Look at what's happening. Look what's happening to the COVID virus. You know, the different variants. It's going through what process?
Mutation?
What process?
Mutation?
That's it. Mutation. Exactly right. That's what I want to hear. For 25 points, last question in potpourri. If you're playing sports and suffer a head injury, it can cause one of these to happen when the brain hits against the skull and damages some neurons. Often happens to young people playing sports. They develop what kind of head injury?
A concussion?
Absolutely, concussions. That's why wearing helmets is so very important. Excellent work, 25 points. Last 3 questions. 5 points, Dateline. Even though the blanco-blind salamander has not been seen in over 70 years, the fact that it lives deep underground in waters called aquifers means it may still exist. Even though we've not seen it, it may still exist. Therefore, it is considered to be one of the rarest of these types of animals in the United States. A salamander is a kind of what animal?
Amphibian?
Say it again.
Amphibian?
Amphibian is right. Yes, indeed. It is one of the rarest amphibians ever. May be extinct, may not be. But, you know, since it lives so deep down, I mean, we can't go down there and actually see it oftentimes. Good answer. 15 points. Scientists have discovered a lot of the oil that spilled into the Gulf of Mexico when an underwater pipeline burst. Most of that oil disappeared because of a process called photo, P-H-O-T-O, dissolution, meaning what broke up the oil? We didn't have to do anything. It disappeared because of photo dissolution, meaning
Sunlight?
what broke up
Sunlight?
the oil? Sunlight,
Sunlight?
absolutely right. Sunlight is a great thing. You know, it can heal diseases, and it can break up things that really don't belong on Earth. Perfect answer. Last question of the game, 25 points. It was her work with satellites to create a model of the Earth's surface that led African-American mathematician Gladys West to help design GPS that helps us find where we are if we're driving or if we're walking. For 25 points, what does GPS stand for?
G and S, so the G stands for global, and I think the S stands for satellite, but I don't know what the P stands for.
It could be like place, no.
Global satellite.
The P could be
Remember,
like
the order is GPS.
global place, no.
Global position satellite?
You're so close, because you got the tough one, the position. It's the Global Positioning System. Global Positioning System, based on satellites, which you did know. 225, that's a wonderful game. Nice going, P.E. Williams. Terrific game. We hope you enjoyed today's game. Boy, there were some tough questions today, but you know, they weren't so tough for equally tough competitors. These young people here, they're smart, they work together well, and even when they don't come up with the right answer, they're in the right ballpark because they know how to deconstruct these questions. They have learned enough scientific terminology to come up with some reasonable answers, even if they're not exact ones. As you heard a lot of them say, they're here to learn science. They're also here to share their knowledge with us, and we couldn't be prouder of all of these students. They got to this point, their third game this season, because of what they've done before. We congratulate everybody. Our final tally today is GlennDale 110, Phyllis E. Williams 225. P.E. Williams, congratulations. You are going to compete against Templeton for the chance to go to the championship match that we'll be taping just 1 week from today. GlennDale, you've been close so many times here to a championship. Keep at it. You know, everybody has to make a couple tries before they finally get that brass ring. Next year may be your time. Thank you, coaches. Thank you, principals. Thank you, administrators. And most especially, thank all of you for playing this game because, as I said before, it takes courage to do it. And you put yourself out there and you acquitted yourself beautifully. And thank all of you for watching. We hope to see you next time as we get closer and closer to the elementary school championship. So on behalf of Chuck Wolf and Rodney Jones and Janine Dorothy, our back behind the scenes team and myself, thank you and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.